EMT. There are times where things don't exactly happen by the book.
This job is crazy.
Oh my God, you're finally here.
Because if you don't have humor, you don't belong in this field.
Get up and do it already.
The life of an EMT is anything but normal.
Hey, stop.
And these stories are the most unforgettable, the craziest,
When you're actually living it out, it's not as funny as telling it later.
and bizarre calls these EMTs have ever experienced. This is OMG EMT.
What'd she say?
I don't know. I couldn't hear a word.
On that call, you know, I was new on the job, and in this field, you have to know your partner because you're counting on your partner to make sure nothing happens to you. He counts on you to make sure nothing happens to him, and you guys count on each other to do your job.
Sounded like woman in a dress. Dispatch, this is Rescue 92. Please repeat.
Sometimes dispatchers have the microphone so close to their mouth, you can't understand what they're saying. It's like womp, 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 womp.
Fire department already on scene. Woman in distress. Fire department already on scene. Vicinity of Barbaro and Hammerson.
Rescue 92, copy.
Okay. My partner and I didn't really have a clear address, so we were driving down the street that we were told that the address was on.
It's got to be around here somewhere.
Keep looking, keep looking.
Oh, you see that?
Whoa, yeah, this is supposed to be the place. Gotcha.
There was a gentleman flagging us down as we were coming down the street. So automatically in our field, someone flagging us down, that means that's our call.
Yeah, the fire said they were on scene. I don't see any trucks.
Must be en route. Hi.
This dysfunction.
Neighbor.
This way.
Yeah.
Over there?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Neighbor.
Neighbor?
Neighbor, go. Go.
In there?
There. See there.
Up there, right?
See, senor, there.
Hey, sir,
Ma'am?
sir. That's weird.
Ma'am,
I'll grab the
EMT.
trauma bag.
Man, I'm coming in.
We pull up and immediately we hear screaming. So I was definitely nervous, scared, but we have to find the source of the screams.
Ma'am, I'm coming in.
We start to make our way inside, not really knowing what we're gonna find. My adrenaline is pumping, but we gotta do what we gotta do, and that's save the patient.
Oh my God.
Denise, I got you those favorite fancy pickles that you like so much from the store. Denise? 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 What the?
We've got 22 10 by 12 ABDs.
22 ABDs.
Is that enough?
Rescue 12, Rescue 12. We have a 48-year-old male with chest pains, shortness of breath. Please respond.
Ambulance 112, copy.
With chest pains, sometimes it's an anxiety attack, sometimes it's heartburn, but the heart attack call can go bad very fast.
When you hear a chest pain call come across the radio, your own heart starts to beat a little faster. You've got to be on your game.
EMTs.
What in the world took you so long?
We came as fast as we can.
time needs some work in here.
I know it sounds weird, but loved ones can be some of the hardest people to deal with when we're on a call.
Come on, let's go. Come on. There he is, complaining about chest pains and having a hard time breathing.
Hi, I'm Bertha. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
His name's Dick.
Actually, it's Richard.
Okay, Richard, what's bothering you today?
I'm feeling better now, but...
This really isn't a time for a Q&A. He's having chest pains here.
I'm fine. Hey, I just really want to go down, lay down and rest now.
Wait a minute here. Aren't you going to check his BP? His O2 saturation? His pulse? That's the first thing you should do, guys.
Ma'am, I'm gonna do all that, but right now, I just want to hear it from him. This lady will not back off. She wants to tell you what's going on. She wants to run the call.
Look. I used to be an EMT, so I kind of know what I'm talking about here. Why don't you get the pulse ox monitor and check his BP?
Oh, stop.
Whatever. Should check if he's arrhythmic.
When you got somebody right here talking to in your ear, you can't even do your job. It could cost someone their life.
I've never been much a soda drinker. Too much sugar, and I'm like,
It was the first night working with a new partner, and it was his first night as an EMT, so I knew it'd be an experience for him.
Rescue 61.
Rescue 61 copy?
Rescue 61, unconscious male. Request assistance. Fire department also responding.
Copy that.
The call came across the radio as an unconscious male at a nightclub, and it could be anything from a cardiac call to a fainting, too much alcohol, or something weirder.
Let's go.
Yep. There, come on.
You don't know how to...
Yep, I got it.
You don't know how to use a seatbelt?
No, I got it.
Rook. All right. Go ahead and turn on the lights.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay.
No, one more. All of them. Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
All right. Let's do this.
When we arrived on location, I knew this place was an underground club, and so I knew we were in for a very wild night.
Oh my God, you're finally here.
This very, very beautiful lady came running up to the car, and she said in a voice deeper than mine, "Oh my goodness, thank goodness you're here."
Hurry up, he's inside.
My partner's jaw about hit the floor, and his eyes were just full of bewilderment.
I have to say, I love those uniforms. These button-down short-sleeve shirts are so classy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey, if you guys need any help, just holler. I know CPR and stuff.
Thanks. I think we can manage, but thanks.
Hey, y'all got anything fun in there?
Ibuprofen.
Oh, come on, man.
Y'all need to step back and let them do their work. I'm gonna stop being nice and start getting nasty. I've got a dead guy in my club, and that's bad for business.
Did she just say dead?
So when we do emergency pickups, a lot of the times we'll actually be asked, can we stop at the drive-thru and pick up some food on the way? I'm a little hungry. We've been asked, can I bring my beer with me? Do I have to leave my stuff behind? Can I bring my cat? And it's like, no, my job is not to please you. My job is to take you somewhere and then be done with you.
What'd she say?
After trouble understanding a call coming over the radio,
up there, right?
EMT Marcel Moore and his partner Jeff are flagged down and led to a woman clearly in distress.
Oh my God.
Surprise is constant on this job because no matter what the dispatch tells you, when you respond to something, many times it's not anything like what they told you it was going to be.
Once I find the source of the screams, my mind is blown because I see this pregnant woman who's very ready to give birth.
What's going on?
She looks like she's about to pop.
What, like a baby?
Ma'am. Hablo inglés?
No. No.
Okay, you're gonna be okay.
In our field, we come across different ethnicities, different backgrounds, so people speak different languages that we don't understand all the time.
I have no idea what you're saying.
I have this woman yelling at me in Spanish, and she is not happy. And my Spanish is very basic, so we just kind of have to do charades and figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna help you. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay. Jeff, I'm gonna need the OB kit. This kid's coming now. Down, Jeff, now!
People think we deliver babies all the time, and that's actually not the case. Neither my partner or I have ever delivered a baby, so I was definitely nervous.
All right. Okay, it's okay.
Me duele, me duele, me duele. Ayúdame. Está quemando.
At this moment, I imagine I am being blamed for every woman that's had to endure labor.
Ay, Dios mío.
I don't know what you're saying.
Seems fair.
Just relax, just breathe.
I've dealt with gunshots, I've dealt with stabbings, people on fire, people being assaulted, people in car wrecks, people being hit by cars. And childbirth is the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Jeff, what the heck? Where are you? Jeff, now!
I had the wrong kid. I'm here.
Okay.
Dios mío.
Oh, man.
My biggest job is to keep her calm.
It's gonna be okay. But this baby is coming.
The second biggest job is to keep myself calm.
Just relax. Just relax, okay? Oh, man. Oh, man.
I've read about all the fluids that come out in childbirth, but I didn't realize the force that they come with. And neither did my partner.
Oh, Jesus.
Jeff? Jeff?
It started out as a quiet night for EMT Nathan Bauer and his new partner.
Oh my God, you're finally here.
But a call to a wild club has changed their course.
I've got a dead guy in my club, and that's bad for business.
Did she just say dead?
We're dealing with a patient and you have a ton of bystanders around. It could be frustrating. It's a chaotic situation. You definitely want to minimize those bystanders, try and move them out of the way. You want to give the patient some privacy.
This place is packed to the gills with people, and I've been exposed to a lot of different things, but this is a very crazy club.
He's back here by the VIP room.
You said dead. Do you know that he's deceased?
Looked pretty much dead to me.
People were dressed in a very different way than what I'm used to. We had men dressed like women and women dressed like men, people wearing leather, even the partygoer dressed as a fireman, so it was a bit of a shock.
Do you know if he's been drinking or doing any drugs this evening?
You know, he parties. And when he parties hard.
We must all shop at the same store.
These are county issues.
These are federal issues. 15 years, forest fire, hot shot.
All right. Right on, brother.
Here he is. Been laying like that for like 20 minutes.
Every now and then, you may get a call where you get something where you completely do not expect it. And this was one of those calls.
Is he dead?
Oh, well, we're gonna find out.
So when we found our patient, he was a 70-something-year-old male, face down on the floor. He had no shirt and was wearing these Daisy Duke shorts. I was a little bit shocked, and in my head, I was thinking, at least we don't have to cut off any of his clothing. The big challenge is the patient was all the way in the very back of the club, and they were blaring loud music, which makes it incredibly difficult to do your initial assessment.
Let's get the strobes off, the music down, and the lights up.
When the patient's unconscious, it could be, worst case scenario, a cardiac arrest. It could be someone who's fainted. It could be 1,000,001 different scenarios, but you have to figure out which one is causing it.
First, I'm gonna check his pulse.
And it's very difficult to treat someone in a crowd or a high-density area because a crowd can turn on you very quickly. It can go very south very fast. So we always try to keep focus on the patient and not any other activities going on. If there's a distraction or a delay, it can be disastrous.
Is he dead?
Damn it.
Oh my God.
So we were dispatched to assist police with a male subject with a foul taste in his mouth. And we arrived to find this male in his 30s sitting on the ground, coughing, gagging, vomiting. And the police officers were laughing, kind of doubled over, hysterical. I said, well, what happened? They said, well, he was trying to siphon gas from this RV. And I looked over and noticed that the The siphon tube wasn't in the gas, but it was in the septic holding tank. And the guy, when he was siphoning it, had gotten a big mouthful of...
Nathan and his partner have to assess their unconscious patient in a less than ideal environment, which is proving to be difficult as time is of the essence.
We have what's called the ABCs. Every patient you come up to, airway, breathing, circulation. Do they have an airway that is blocked? Are they breathing? Is their blood going around and around? From those answers, you can start to figure out what's going on with that patient.
First, I'm going to check his pulse, then I'm going to see if he's breathing. All right, pulse is good. And breathing. Hey, hand me the flashlight. I'm going to check his pupils. Pupils are good.
From our initial assessment, there appear to be no obvious physical injuries or any obvious trauma.
Get the fireman and go check to see if we can get any more information on him.
So knowing the patient's history of what happened before I arrived on scene is critical to me.
What's going on?
We need to get some information on what happened beforehand. You want to find out, were they taking any drugs or were they drinking excessively? But the patient's unconscious, so your next best bet is to ask the crowd or anyone who's with them.
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
Please.
Did you happen to see if this gentleman had fallen or if he had been indulging in something?
So you're kind of like a doctor, right?
No, not really.
Well, you kind of are. What do you know about bunions?
Bunions?
These shoes look absolutely divine, but they're hell on my feet.
See a doctor.
So, did you happen to see if he might have overexerted himself?
God, he made me tired with all that.
Okay, that's great.
You are adorable. You and your entourage want a drink? Looks like you need one.
No. Thank you. Thank you. I think we got what we needed. Thank you so much.
When you're older, your body begins to slow down, you don't metabolize very well, and your liver has lived a long life, and it's not as efficient. So overdosing on alcohol will greatly affect you.
His glucose is good. All right, he's all good and ready to go.
So we're still in the back of the club, and we want to move him out of the environment so we can get into the ambulance and get him to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Hey, where's the stretcher?
It's right there.
You have to be cognizant of maintaining scene security. It's very rare people will steal equipment, but it does happen.
Did any of you guys see what happened to the stretcher?
What do you mean, you guys lost it?
I've never lost my stretcher before, and it's critical that we have all of our equipment with us always, and when it goes missing, that's the worst.
Did any of you guys see what happened to the stretcher?
If we don't have a stretcher, there's no way to transport them safely. That can kill someone, essentially.
This is not how I want to start my career.
That's not good.
Responding to a potential heart attack call can be stressful.
What in the world took you so long?
And Bertha Fisher finds herself pushed to the limit
Why don't you get the pulse ox monitor and check his BP?
by a know-it-all wife.
Having someone on the scene who has had some medical training, however little or small it may have been, we often say that they have just enough knowledge to be disruptive.
Grab me the pulse ox.
Yeah, you got it.
It's about time. Come on. Use each other's finger. You'll get a better reading.
A lot of times when you're trying to deal with someone like his wife, it's how do I get her out of the way or how do I get him to back off? Because a lot of times it'll make it worse on the patient.
Okay, your pulse seems a little elevated. Really, what are the numbers? Hello?
Oh, stop.
When examining this gentleman, his blood pressure is extremely elevated. His pulse is elevated. Respirations are very elevated. He's very anxious.
Okay, it's a little high, Richard. Dave's saturation levels are a bit low. Richard, how have you been feeling the past few days?
Fine.
Are you feeling lightheaded at all?
I just want to go lay down.
Can I ask you what might have brought this on? I mean, were you exercising or anything, or maybe putting any strain on your body?
No. Nothing like that.
just sort of happened.
Well, if it just sort of happened, we should take you to the hospital and find out why.
Get up. Get yourself to the hospital. Get up and do it already.
Denise, stop.
Sometimes you have to know when to keep your mouth shut. You're not going to make the situation any better by getting into an argument.
Richard, what happened to your hand?
There's blood on the floor. You want to tell me what happened?
I heard it shopping.
Too many different things didn't click. I have a gut feeling there's something else going on.
There was this one time we had a call at a gas station where this girl was possessed. She was foaming at the mouth. She kept saying she was God and we were the devil. She kept asking me to look in her eyes so she could save me. She was handcuffed and going in convulsions. And later on, the nurse said there was nothing in her system. No drugs, no alcohol. She had to be possessed.
Dispatch, this is Rescue 92. Please repeat.
A mysterious 911 call pointed two EMTs into uncharted waters.
What's going on?
She looks like she's about to pop.
Where the sights and sounds of labor proved too much for Marcel's partner, Jeff, who dropped out of sight.
Jeff?
There's a lot going on when you have a baby, and it's all not pretty. Sometimes if you're in the middle of a delivery, the woman could be throwing up on you, and the bag of water can break, and you're in the middle of it.
At this time, I don't know what's going on with my partner. I see him down.
Jeff, you okay down there?
You know, it's basically a rule. We cannot leave our patient once she makes contact. I've definitely made contact with my patient, so I can't leave her to go check on my partner.
Okay. All right. Okay, just push, okay? Okay. Oh, man. Okay, that's a hit.
And then I see the baby's head coming out, and we call that crowning. At that moment in time, it's like, what do I do? And it's like, I literally have to revert back to class. Like, okay, I honestly forgot everything I learned.
Breathe. Just like we practiced. Uh-huh. Okay.
At this moment, the lady's screaming at an all-time high. But I can't help but think, okay, where's my partner? I haven't seen him since he was lights out, and I realized it's gonna be me delivering this baby alone.
Got it. Okay. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Push. Okay. 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 All right. One more.
My adrenaline is pumping. It's a human life coming into the world, and I'm the one who delivered it. But boy, oh boy, was this thing messier than I ever thought it would be.
What's this like?
I felt good. I delivered my first baby. It was a healthy baby. She was screaming, yelling, like mother, like daughter.
Congratulations.
But I'm thinking in my head, okay, where's my partner? Did he kill himself?
Jeff, come on, man. Open your eyes. Jeff?
It's clear to our EMTs there's more going on in this house than anyone is letting on.
Richard, what happened to your hand?
There's blood on the floor.
So they want to move their patient to the hospital as soon as possible.
When you show up on a call, you just stay out of the family drama, any kind of issues they have. They'll bring up stuff that happened to their cousin's nephew 10 years ago.
I'd like to take you to the hospital and get this checked out.
A patient coming off woozy, there's a lack of blood flow, the heart is not pumping as hard as it was, blood's not getting to all the places it needs to go, and the next thing that usually happens is they're going to pass out, and we need to get them to the hospital ASAP.
I'm fine, really.
Hey. Is he gonna be okay?
That's just James hanging out with us for a little bit, living with us for a few months.
Oh, no. Oh.
Just James.
Young gentleman comes in and is very quiet, and older gentleman was very uncomfortable in the room with him. He's very anxious.
Why? Oh.
Cardiac calls can go from 0 to 60, as we like to call it, faster than you would think. So what can seem like a minor distraction can be a big problem when we only have seconds to minutes to help this patient with their life. And any bystander or family member that thinks they're helping just sometimes are not.
He needs to go.
Denise, stop.
Get up and do it.
I responded to the home of an elderly lady many years ago, and she was having difficulty breathing. And some of the family was there, and they were telling me she's very hard of hearing. And I started to do my assessment, put her on a heart monitor, and took out my stethoscope to listen to her lungs. And I go, ma'am, can you take some deep breaths? And then the daughter, Mom, he wants you to take some deep breaths. And this went on for about 5 minutes, and I wasn't getting any further along in my assessment. So finally, very nicely, I put my mouth right next to her ear, and I said, ma'am, big breasts. And she looked at me and went, well, they used to be. So, you know, the family, of course, is hysterical.
As an EMT, it's not uncommon to be a detective.
Can I ask you what might have brought this on?
But our EMTs needed to move their interrogation out of the home and into the ambulance.
Get up and do it already.
Oh.
The mind and the body are so very connected. When someone is stressed, they then can have physical manifestations. And these physical manifestations are real. And you do the full $1 million workup just as you would someone who may have a cervical spine injury.
Do you want to tell me what really happened?
We're still assessing him in the back of the ambulance, and I said, you know, something is going on. You really need to talk to us, because if you don't tell us exactly what's going on, we really can't help you.
It all started out like a nice day. Denise, I got you those fancy pickles from the store that you like so much. Denise? Honey? Denise? What the?
It's not what it looks like, Richard.
Oh,
it's,
you
everything
son
is,
of a...
everything's...
Oh.
It's...
I took you in, and you do this?
Richard, stop it! Chill out, Richard! Richard! James, shut up now. James, not now.
Not cool with this.
Chill out.
Oh, my chest. My chest.
I think he's having a heart attack or something.
It hurts.
Do you know how much that lamp cost, Richard? Huh?
So that's what happened.
I'm sorry, Richard. Nobody deserves that.
Part of this job is walking into family drama, talking to people, and letting them cry on your shoulder.
Oh, no. You've got to be kidding.
Richard? 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 Are you okay?
As messed up as everything was, it got a lot weirder at the hospital.
What's his BP? His pulse? Is he arrhythmic?
No, ma'am.
Did you check? How are you, Richard? You okay?
I'm fine, Denise. What's he doing here?
James is worried, too. Tell him, James.
I can't believe she brought this young man that she slept with to the hospital.
You have to understand, I was just trying to help James relax. You know how hard he's had it.
Oh, stop it, Denise. Stop it.
Come on, why are you being so mean?
Mean?
Don't
I'm
be
not
mean.
being mean.
Are you
Oh, I
okay?
can feel it again, my chest.
Oh,
Oh, go away.
Oh, man. Love is blind.
Oh.
Richard? Are you okay?
A rowdy club has tested Nathan and his partner all night.
Let's get the strobes off, the music down, and the lights up.
But now the club goers have taken it too far.
Then you guys see what happened to the stretcher?
Stealing the EMT's most important piece of equipment.
You guys lost it.
Alcohol has an effect on people kind of like a full moon. I've seen people that a small amount of alcohol and they turn into a fighter. And then some people, a small amount of alcohol turns them into some kind of romantic. It can get pretty crazy.
We're gonna see if we can find it, okay?
Supervisor's gonna have my butt for this.
No, thank you. Not tonight.
I've never lost my stretcher before. I just thought, oh my goodness, where is it?
Can't leave him there. I'm sorry, dude.
Let's go off. We sort of have to use it, all right?
But thank goodness they found our stretcher. It would have been awful having to call another unit out to the location to transport. There is a sense of urgency to move him outside and into my ambulance to get to the hospital as quickly as possible due to his age and being unconscious for an unknown reason.
All right, he's all good and ready to go.
But we're still in the back of the club, and there's a crowd of people. And if someone has any back injuries or any skeletal injuries, it can injure them in transport.
All right, follow us.
So we always try to keep that in consideration. But at the same time, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because what if this happens? What if this happens? There's a million what-if scenarios. So it's critical that we have the firefighters clear a path for us and they can make sure no one comes up and attempts to interfere with us.
Excuse me, excuse me. Coming through, please. Please, make some room.
Marcel managed to bring new life into the world without the help of his partner.
Congratulations. Jeff, come on, man, open your eyes.
But, as he'll soon discover, the riskiest part of birth sometimes comes after the baby's arrived.
The normal placenta delivers in about 5 to 10 minutes, and every now and then you need to help it. In a hospital setting, the doctor's just going to manually take it out. But if you're outside of a hospital setting and it's retained, you could start hemorrhaging.
Do you have another contraction?
Even though I never delivered a baby before, I knew that the mother has to deliver the placenta. And once that's out, we can cut the umbilical cord, mother can have her baby, and everything's okay. But that's not what happened.
Contraction, see? I'll take that as a yes. Okay.
I got mom, I got baby, no placenta, my partner's out, it's me by myself, and I kept thinking, where's the fire department that should have been here a long time ago that dispatch said that they were already on scene?
Señor, señor, señor.
Hey, who the hell are you?
Oh, hey, I live in the front. I heard a noise.
Couldn't help but notice that the guy that was helping my partner out just happens to be a little person. There's nothing wrong with that.
Jeff! Jeff, open your eyes, man.
This dude's not doing so good.
Yeah, he's my partner. Don't touch him. He fell off the ladder and he may have hurt his back or his neck in the fall.
Yeah, man. I'm not touching anybody, man. I'm not moving anybody.
Hey, you mind doing me a favor and calling the fire department?
Fire department?
Yeah, fire department.
Why?
Because I need a little help up here, and he can use a little help down there.
At this point, we are not going to make it to the hospital. The placenta's not out yet. It's me by myself, and I really need help, and at this moment, I'm kind of freaking out.
Sure, man. Whatever, man. I'll be right back.
Jeff, open your eyes, man. Come on, let's push. Let's do this. Okay, come on, push, come on. Come on, push for me.
If the placenta doesn't come out, the mother can bleed out, and we don't want that. So we have to try to get this placenta delivered. It could be life or death situation.
Ay, Dios mío.
Keep breathing.
We got the call for a traumatic injury, so we get to the call and knock on the door, and the guy opens the door and he's holding an ice pack on his head. You know, he had long hair, like a heavy metal type guy, and he's like, oh, well, I just got my Quiet Riot Greatest Hits CD, and I was head banging. I got a little too excited, and I banged my head and knocked myself unconscious. I looked at my partner, he looked at me, and we took everything just to keep from, busting out in laughter, and he had a lump on his head, and I had a headbanger that was literally a headbanger.
Our hero EMTs discovered that nothing is ever truly lost.
Let's go off. We sort of have to use it, all right?
But their patient is still unconscious. He needs the safety of the ambulance and the hospital.
When you become dehydrated and you're drinking alcohol, what people commonly do will drink more, which dehydrates you, which makes you thirsty, so you drink more alcohol. Unfortunately, when you get into a process like that, you will dehydrate much faster than if you were drinking something, say, like soda or water.
All right, so I'm gonna put the line in and see if we can get him hydrated.
Someone who's suspected of overdosing on alcohol, you want to start an IV. A, that gives access for medicines, and B, you essentially dilute the blood, and it brings them back a little bit quicker. They'll still be a little bit loopy and still a little tipsy, but they'll be able to talk to you at least.
Line's in. Hello, sir. You feeling better? Are you with me, sir?
Why is it so bright? Where are we?
You're in an ambulance. You took a little spill in there.
So after we started the IV, and he started to come around, and he starts talking to me, still schmammered pretty hardcore, slurring his words.
Was I dancing? I might have been dancing. Was something on fire?
Don't remember a thing, huh?
I remember something was on fire.
Should this gentleman be taking better care of himself? Of course. Should he not be drinking as much? Absolutely. But we're not here to judge. We're here just to make him feel better.
Whoa, look at this. Now it's coming back to me. Take a look.
So while we're treating the patient, some photos from earlier in the evening, and that explained a lot. This gentleman was definitely drunk.
It looks like you party harder than I do.
Yeah, it sure looks that way, doesn't it?
No two shifts or two calls are ever the same, but that's what makes it fun.
Woo.
Marcel delivered a healthy baby.
Congratulations.
But is faced with a new challenge.
Contraction, see?
Hopefully, backup will arrive in time to help.
Your partner is everything on the job. If you don't have a partner, it can make things very difficult for you, even though you may be walking into some of the most stressful things you've ever thought of walking into. With a great partner, there's very little stress.
Come on, let's push. Let's do this. Okay, come on, push. Push. Push, come on. Come on, push. Push for me.
Hey, big man. I called the fire department.
Good. That's great. How's my partner?
He's moving.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
See, hallelujah.
Sweetest sounds for me at the moment is the sirens I hear coming from the fire truck.
You're okay. It's gonna be okay.
What happened to him? And where's the baby? Captain, up here now. I had a lady who just had a baby, but there's a problem.
Hey, Cap, I'm okay.
Push for me. Come on, push.
Just as happy as I was to deliver the baby, I was just happy to see that fire captain to be there to help me deliver this placenta.
All right. How long has it been? I don't know, about 10 minutes. All right. I think it's coming. Okay. All right. All right. You did it.
It was the first for me. I delivered a baby, I delivered a placenta, and I got to cut the umbilical cord.
All right, cut about 4 inches up, I'll clamp. So what took you guys so long?
Cuidado, con cuidado.
Oh, we were waiting for you down at the other house. Other house? Yeah, down the block. You guys never showed up.
Turns out we were at the wrong place at the right time. We figured it was the right address because the guy flagged us down.
Keep looking, keep looking.
Oh, see that?
Whoa, yeah, this is supposed to be the place. Gotcha. Okay, here we go.
The fire said they were on scene. I don't see any trucks.
Must be en route.
But we were supposed to be at another house a couple blocks away. All in all, things worked out. I can't complain. But it's definitely a story that I tell repeatedly for more than one reason.
Dude,
I know.
you know I gotta tell everybody, right?
Yeah,
I gotta.
yeah. Probably do the same.
After we figured out my partner was okay, I could definitely say that he got made fun of.
Excuse me. Oh. Who's that?
Oh, that's my new partner.
What? How much did I miss?
Oh, don't worry. I'll keep reminding you.
It's not every day that you meet a little person, deliver a baby, or watch your partner pass out on the job.